What was your reaction to the anthem being played while you guys were in here?
To be honest, I didn't hear it, and I wasn't exactly sure why it wasn't played. But it's fucking unbelievable. Saddened by it. I think that it's pretty clear what the message is that I'm trying to bring to light when I'm out in Chicago. I've continued to try to talk about in these last few days and what I intend to talk about. And clearly with his actions, I think that that's a necessary conversation. I think it was incredibly distasteful to say that I, 4 days before, one of the worst tragedies we've had in our country, to say that I hijacked this event. I think that you saw by the fan support, and I've talked to a few of the girls, and my team's been incredibly supportive in the stance that I've taken, that that is not true. We share it with a lot of people here. It's just really disappointing and disrespectful. In my opinion, when I talk about disrespect, I'm talking about me disrespecting the flag. He didn't even give people a chance, give both teams a chance to even stand in front of it and show respect. So, just it's unbelievable. It's truly an unbelievable act to me.
Were any of your teammates going to join in the protest, and what did they say about this in the locker room during the anthem?
I think that they were going to show their support in some way. I don't know if any of them were going to kneel or not, but I know that many of my teammates have had conversations with me or just said that they wanted to show support in some way. That's a hand on my shoulder, or they don't have to do anything. Just a conversation is good. But I think that some were planning to do that in a small way, which was nice.
What have the last few days been like for you, and have you been able to actually connect with Kaepernick in a new way?
I've not been able to connect with Colin, but I've talked to a few other activists leading the charge, and obviously everyone in my life. It's been good, and good in the sense of having conversations with myself all day long, and conversations with other people, and learning more and becoming more educated. But I think ultimately the conversation is going in a positive way. I mean, even the conversations I have with my family, you kind of start to melt away some of those barriers and actually have the real conversation, and that's what's most meaningful. So I think overall the response has been good. I mean, obviously there's some negative going on, but I'm not rolling through the trolls. So keep it positive.
What were your expectations coming in tonight? Did you see anything like this coming?
No, definitely not.
You had a couple security guards with you at that time. Have you been able to see them for that?
I haven't personally. I'm not reading all of the tweets. I know that the club has received some emails, and they're kind of handling that, sort of keeping me insulated from that. Just to extra caution.
How do you feel about something like that's happening?
Shows we really need to talk about the conversation that I want to talk about. It's kind of case in point right there.
How does this all affect you going into the game? Playing after the show?
Yeah, I mean, to say that I'm, not mentally tired in ways or exhausted in certain ways would be a lie. I think that obviously it's draining. It's been draining on everyone. I'm aware that it's not just me that's going through this. It's my whole team, my whole club, my whole family, and everything, and the other players in the league as well. So I know that's created a stir, but I think sometimes that's necessary. So I'm a little bit tired, but I'm also getting through the game, so I'm tired all the time right now.
With Chicago, obviously they didn't know it was happening until it happened. What was the response from that organization as compared to the Spirit tonight, as far as post game and everything like that?
I'm not exactly sure if they had a response. I don't know if they put a statement out or not. They seemed okay after the presser. After was good. Thoughtful questions. And I think so.
coach, was this any kind of distraction to the team, or just the fact that this kind of end around with the anthem was done blindsided?
No, I don't think it was a distraction. I don't think it impacted the game. You know, we obviously were told just as we were about to leave the locker room that the anthem had already been played, so I let Megan know that, and we had a very brief reaction to that. But you know, I think we were trying to be very focused on what we had to try and do. I just felt that there was a strange atmosphere at the start of the game, because obviously most people in the ground knew that it had already been played, and then we're sort of walking out not really knowing why. So I think that was a little bit, we had no control over that. But to say that it was a distraction and it impacted our play, I think would be taken away from, you know, our performance and Spirit's performance.
Were you disappointed by the decision? Or how did you feel about the decision?
Yeah, I just think disappointed in the sense that we've tried to do everything we can to prepare for every eventuality leading up to today, and obviously leading up to training and everything else, and to not be notified prior was disappointing. And then obviously with all the other stuff that's gone on throughout the game, again disappointed that nobody was from our club was notified of anything that was going to go out public regards a statement as to why that happened. And I think in regards to things like this, in my opinion, our responsibility is to prepare for every eventuality, and it's hard to do that if you're not given the right information.
It's funny, the owner said that you guys hijacked the event. We've been talking for almost 7 minutes, and not a word has been spoken. Spirit have to push their home game in the postseason. So
it tells its own story, really. That tells its own story. The last thing we're speaking about is the game. And I think it wouldn't have been that if the anthem had been played, and it wouldn't have been that if stuff hadn't gone out publicly. So I think that in itself shows that maybe the decision that whoever made has had its adverse effect.
What does this, I imagine this will be playing them again in a few days in Seattle, where you obviously have a lot of support. What do you anticipate? What kind of emotions do you think this will carry over to
I mean, some of course, and our game's on September 11th, we're planning a ceremony with 5 veterans that have served. We've been obviously in contact with them, especially since Sunday night when we were in Chicago, and we're having a conversation with them, and we're bringing them in, and I'm going to meet with them before and talk with them. So obviously giving them the utmost respect is paramount for me and for the club, and I think that while I plan to continue to take a knee during the national anthem, I think, like Laura was saying, when everyone can prepare for that, then nobody's surprised by something crazy. So I don't see it having this huge effect, to be honest. I think, while I hope the conversation continues, and I still get questions about it, maybe a couple about that, and then some about the game, and like Laura was saying, the Spirit don't deserve to, be in the playoffs, clinch home field advantage, and beat a very good team in us, and we haven't talked about them once.
Have you heard from U.S. Soccer at all, and are you still planning to protest if you're called up?
Yeah, I've been in touch with U.S. Soccer, with the media relations there, just sort of talking through my process, and it's kind of an ongoing process daily with my agent, U.S. Soccer, and sort of everyone involved. As of now, I do plan to do it. It's an ever-evolving process, and I know it means something a little bit different when I'm wearing the U.S. shirt, but I still plan to do it.
But, I mean, that to me seems like a bigger deal to do it than when you're wearing the U.S. shirt, right? I mean, is that kind of thing?
Yeah. I think it is a big deal. Definitely, especially when you have 2 anthems. I've already seen stuff about standing for the Thai anthem and not standing for the U.S. anthem. Again, I think that's people uncomfortable with the conversation that I'm trying to have and trying to deflect onto a different conversation that puts me sort of in a corner that's an unanswerable question. But I think it is a big deal. I take playing for my country very seriously, and it's a huge honor. I think anybody who knows me knows that. Who barely knows me would probably know that. So I hope that we can kind of continue to flush this out, and sort of the outrage can die down, and we can have a meaningful conversation, and hopefully by the time we get to Columbus, that
going forward, do you want the league to take action about tonight's events?
The owner's behind us. I think I don't know if we're allowed to comment on that. I mean,
there'll be conversations, I'm sure. I think it's the not knowing. I'm not sure who, if anyone at the league knew or they didn't. It's not for me to say. I don't.
They plus he did not.
Okay, so
He had no
Jeff has
idea.
said he didn't, which that tells its own story, right? And I think that in itself is disrespectful to the league, in my opinion, because we're all trying to fight for the same thing with this league, in the sense that we're a single entity. We're trying to get people interested in the sport. We're trying to put a product on the field that people want to come and watch. And, you know, lightning delay, rain, the Spirit fans are still out there. I believe they deserve more too. You know? So I think it's my personal opinion. It's disappointing, and I'm sure things will be talked about internally. If not, everything will be talked about externally, which some things might need to go out externally, but I think a lot of internal conversations will happen for sure.
When you made this statement, you talked about how as an openly gay American, you felt discrimination yourself. I was talking with a few gay Spirit fans today who were frustrated by the Spirit's one of the only teams that doesn't have Pride nights, that hasn't showed solidarity. Do you think that had anything to do with this action? There were some people thinking that there was some homophobia related to this experience. I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I've had conversations with Spirit players, current and past. The fact that they don't have a Pride night. They have gay players on their team, obviously, as everyone else. I think that they've made it pretty clear, at least internally, that that's not something that they're interested in, which to me. So I don't know if it was directly at me, and because I'm gay, and that's a protest that I'm making as a gay woman. Bit of stretch, but yeah, I do think that they'll interested in
You keep saying that the message, this is kind of, he's in the way hijacking, the message and the game. What do you want to get back on track? What do you feel like people are misconstruing, and what do you want to kind of get back to the heart of what you're saying?
I think everything I said before. I think we need to have an open conversation about race relations in this country, and what that means to both sides. And I think that the conversation gets so mixed up. It's like, what are we actually talking about? We're talking about Americans that have to deal with oppression and racism and poverty and sort of the intersectionality of all of it. Being a woman, we can talk about, we talk about equal pay all the time, and obviously we have this fight going, and 70-something cents on the dollar, and that's if you're white. I'm not talking about if you're black or if you're Latino. So I personally would like to get back to that, improving relationship between the police community and communities of color. Obviously is a huge thing, and a hot button sort of issue right now, but I think I don't know exactly all of the right things to say, but I want to learn and I want to engage in that conversation, and I think in part, I went into this knowing that I don't have all of the answers, and sort of opened myself up and kind of been a little bit exposed in that, because I don't know everything, and there's no way that I can, but I want to. And I think that there's honestly a lot of people out there who want to, and they don't know how, and that's kind of a difficult thing if you live in a predominantly white community, or you just don't have a lot of experience in that. But I think this can help open up a conversation a little bit more than it has been.
Thank you.
One more question.
Megan, how far away from you playing 90 minutes? How much longer until you can play a complete match?
Well, today I was 60 minutes away. It's getting there. It just takes time.
Yeah.
Really what I've played 4 games or something, 5 games, and obviously with the Olympic break, it was kind of almost a step back in my training, really, just because we got into the rhythm of the games. It was wonderful to be there, of course, but hopefully soon.
ACL feels good?
Yeah,
Good.
he's totally fine. It's just lungs.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Nick, we did South by Southwest together. Yeah.